All right. So, mm, all right. So, I think I'll just go turn on my camera. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, thank you for joining. My name is Mujeti Dave Iwetala, the founder and CEO of RebootQL. And so we are currently like under incubation. We're just like before we like do full launch, where we are trying to like do so many things, understand, feel, iterate, and then before we fully launch in January. And we decided to have these Nexus sessions because we wanted to host conversations around Africa technology, like the future of quantum computing and what role we can play, in shaping our global future. As Africa, Africa has the history of always playing catch up with technology, and we see like this opportunity again. Another technology revolution is coming, not necessarily like different or going to like change or replace AI, no. But then we see that in partnership with AI, it has a lot of potential to unlock prosperity for Africa. And that's why we're here to just discuss some of these things. And it's really exciting to have everyone on the call. Yeah, we're very few, just three, but there's more. I hope more people will be able to join, and our speaker will join us soon. So, just like I said, this will be like a very open call, like an open community call where we just talk. Everybody just contributes, and like next week we will have like a full session. So, yeah. Is anybody like? Do you want to go? Do you want to just introduce yourself? Tell us what you do, why you are here. Anybody? So I have three people before me. Okay, so the first person here on my screen is Destiny. Do you want to go? Like, just introduce yourself. What do you do? Like, tell us what your account. I'm curious about.
Sorry, please, can you come again? I should introduce myself.
And just introduce yourself. Tell us what you do. Like, what part of quantum is like catching your attention?
Okay, I'm Wake Destiny. I'm a software developer, basically front-end dev. And the part of quantum that is actually catching my attention is interactivity, user interactivity, something like HCI with quantum. So I'm looking at maybe even doing my master's in that aspect, trying to combine computer science and quantum computing together.
Oh, that's really amazing. Like, definitely, which is one of a very important area. Like, human interaction with technology is very important. Like, if we don't understand how humans can probably like properly interact with these technologies, definitely we'll not be able to unlock the full potential. Just the same way with AI. AI has been seen, but then the introduction of chat interfaces made it accessible, lower the barrier of entry, and then just made it accessible for people to be able to like access
Exactly.
exactly. So, you know, asking people, oh, when did AI come? Say, oh, just 2022. But then, AI has been since, but that change, that bridge between just that interface, the introduction of the chat interface is just brought that bridge and made it more accessible. And I think, yeah, so with same thing with quantum technology, yeah, we're not, yeah, probably it might not be in everybody's pockets, just like we have our mobile phones, but then it has a lot of potential, to unlock prosperity, unlock new areas of computations, which is really amazing. Thank you so much. That's really amazing. So yeah,
Thank you.
next. I'll go to the next person. That's Jesu Joba. Jesu Joba. So Can you like unmute and just introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone.
I
Yes,
so we can't hear you, or is it a bit low? So I don't know. Are you close? Are you far from you?
can you, is it better now?
Yeah, thank you very much. Amazing.
My name is Jesu Joba, and so I don't have any particular out of quantum that interests me because I'm still like trying to wrap my head around it. So
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you very much. Yeah, actually, it's quite understandable too. Like, yeah, when you first pick it up and then you see it and it's like, come on, dude, it's the thinking, it's a bit different from the normal way. And I think that's one of the challenges people face is that, oh, it's kind of counterintuitive. Like it kind of goes against what you know normally, but then it's still like correct. So your ability to like, oh, I can like maybe I'll call it like how can you exist in like two superposition or states, like try to understand. And yeah, so it's really really amazing. Thank you so much for that. I think I had the same, well, I wouldn't say I had like the same challenge when I first picked it up too, because I feel like I've been interacting with something related to that, like thinking on that level before. But then, so just picking it up and learning about it just made more sense. Like, yeah, like it just clicked kind of. So really, really amazing. Yeah, I'll go to Fin follower. Fin follower, are you there? Can you go? Okay, seems he cannot speak. So that's fine. So thank you everyone for joining. We are supposed to be more than this today actually, but then majority have not joined, but it's fine. It's still an open call, like everybody to contribute. Let's talk and discuss, and we look forward like to see how. That's why we are like we are learning, trying to learn and see how it works better, for the community and for everybody. So from this corner, I can see like few people, but by next week we should like look at the way to like, oh, how can we have more people come on the call, which makes it like very interactive and very beautiful. So, personally for me, let me just talk about like what I'm really interested in quantum as a person. So I'm very driven by my faith. Like my faith is my greatest driver, and if there's anything that I'm pushing for quantum is the fact that you are able to unlock intelligent design through nature, like the ability to simulate nature. The current classical computers we have cannot really do much of simulation of nature, but then with what quantum holds, the promise around quantum is that we are able to like simulate nature and imagine discovering like intelligent patterns, intelligent designs in nature. It wows me a lot. Like, come on, like God created the earth and then embedded so much designs. Like, so in fact, we've not really discovered, I would say we didn't discover half, but then like there are a lot of things we are still yet to discover. No, when God said in James chapter 1, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth, like there are a lot of things to still search out in the earth, like a lot of discoveries that is still to be made. People feel like, oh, we've made all the discovery. Like in fact, when they talk about computers, they talk about computers like, oh, there's already like what computers can do. Like computers can basically do everything. AI can do everything. But then we don't talk about what these current computers cannot do. And which is very important because when you look at the areas that actually these computers cannot do and the way the world is growing complex day by day. We have complex systems from logistics to optimization. Like the world is basically complex. So how do we handle those complexity? We need a new level of computation or new approach to computation that help us, undo those level of complexity. So that's like one of like my biggest pushes. Imagine being able to adapt, like being able to understand and being able to see nature pick the intelligent designs from nature and then apply it to our system. There's this concept called biomimicry, where we look into nature to pick principles and design our systems the way nature, because nature is intelligence, nature is resilient. Like if you look at the way God designed nature and the systems around the world, it just makes it like things just move naturally and flow. But technology, human beings, and different aspirations has led to the exploitation and so many way where we have tried to like build technology at the expense of human interaction, at the expense of like so many things. So that's like one of the biggest push for me, which is really amazing. So thank you very much. I did joke Victor. You are welcome. So we were just doing introduction and introducing ourselves and telling like what's that thing about quantum computing that that you are interested in. So can you like just do a bit of introduction of yourself and just tell us?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
My name is
afternoon.
Adejokun Victor, and
Oh,
I'm a Nigerian teenager. And the thing about quantum computing that I really love, I don't really think I have a particular concept about it right now, but I really love the idea that tech is going in a very fast pace, like currently. But about quantum computing, I don't really have anything much about it. Thank you.
oh, thank you very much. That's really amazing. You're welcome. Yeah, just like you said, tech is moving fast. There's that push towards AGI. Everybody like chips. AI is riding on chips, chip industry. Like if people knew that OpenAI was going to blow up the way it blew up, a lot of people will have invested. You get so yeah, it's moving at an exponential, like an exponential rate, and that's what quantum computing brings. Like the ability to do perform complex calculations at a very exponential rate, which is really amazing. So yeah, we have Solomon on the call, which is really amazing, and I'm so glad to have him here. I met him a few months ago, and the way he spoke just sparked something in me, and I just reached out, like, and we had a conversation around quantum, and then I told him about the session, and he's here. Just like I said, we're going to be having like a two-part session. So today is more like um, it's an open house call where yeah, it's going to like lead us, but then we'll just have conversations, spark conversations, and then look, let's see how it goes. So which is really amazing. So yeah, welcome Solomon. I'm really excited to have you here and looking forward to how you're going to like just spark fire, like put fire in everyone here, which is really amazing. So let me just read a short bio about Solomon. So Solomon Taiwo Abali is a young African innovator and a system thinker, passionate about shaping the future of technology, especially synthetic intelligence and digital security. Man, he has to break that down for us. He serves as the chief operating officer of Smarter House, a youth innovation ecosystem, empowering Africa's next generation of transformative leaders through initiatives such as the Smarter Crucible and the Acon War Room. He's the founder of the Control Room, a community of Gen Zs who are passionate about unlocking the deep potential of AI, cybersecurity, and quantum computing. He's currently building Tesseract. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but then he's going to help us pronounce it right. An hybrid AI to defend critical data infrastructure against future cyber threats, especially those powered by AI and quantum computers. At 20, Solomon is thinking with what he calls the future traffic trif I don't still know how to pronounce that. It's good to pronounce for us. The convergence of AI, cybersecurity, and quantum computing as the force that will unlock Africa's deep potential and define the next age of civilization. So I'm really excited to have him here. Honestly speaking, yeah, if you know the Smarter House and people, and you've heard a lot about the Smarter House, those guys are really amazing. Like they are doing really amazing things. And he's one of the Smarter House people, and he's here to just spark ice. I mean, he's just here to like put fire in us, and let's see how it goes. So, hi Solomon, you can like okay, you can just go ahead, unmute your mic. I will allow you to like not show your face for now. Let's keep it like that. So by next week,
Hello.
the your relation. Yeah. Hi Solomon.
Hello, everyone. Can everybody hear
Hi.
me? Can you hear me
Yeah.
clearly? If you can hear
Hi.
me, say hi. You can just turn on your mic and say hi. For follower, Jesoloba, Destiny, and Victor. Hello. If you're there, please can you just turn on your mic and say hi?
Hi, sir.
Solomon.
All right, all right. I can hear a few other people, except for Fee. I mean, all right.
Yeah.
So I think I will just show my face. I
Okay,
can just
so
do it
that's
now.
fine.
All right. Can everybody see me?
Yes.
All
You know the
right.
transformation. Yeah.
All right. So I'm looking all tribalistic today because we're talking about Africa. So
Yeah.
let's be real grounded because if we're going to talk about the subject, then let's as well look like the subject.
Of course.
So yeah, and if it's about tech, the house is looking tech all itself. So I guess the cycle is complete.
Yeah.
So I live in a smarter now. So this is the smarter world where I currently am sitting. All right. So good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and I believe that this is an historical moment for all of us. Right? I was chatting up one of my friends yesterday, and she's also running an NGO. She's 19, there in Abia State, and then I was studying. I think I'll be having one of history's most critical conversations tomorrow, right? Because
Yeah.
I believe the conversation we're going to be having is something that's going to totally change the trajectory of where we're heading to,
Mhm.
right? Um, because the conversation we're about to have is something that is very, very critical to Africa, where we stand, where we've been, and where we are going in the future, right? So, so you finally had to pronounce a couple of things, all right?
Yeah.
All right. So, the future trifecta, right? I'm gonna get down to that. I'm gonna get down to that.
Yeah.
But I think I'll just begin over along the way. I'll introduce myself and all of that,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna show you that. Okay, I'm not an expert in quantum computing. I'm not an expert in cybersecurity or artificial intelligence. I'm just a young boy who is super enthusiastic about these things, who went ahead to learn a couple of things just to further his understanding about it, especially about AI and cybersecurity also. All right, so I'm going to show you that regardless of what we have had before, the words you're about to hear me say are totally and absolutely different from what you've ever had before. Right? Because I'm about to show you a whole new dimension from what you've seen before or ever heard. All right. So today's conversation is going to be like a two-part series. Today is going to be more of a thought version, and then next week we're going to do more of the show where we have slides and everything where we talk about these things. All right. So yes, can everybody see hear me?
Yeah. We can.
All right. So speaking about Africa, I love our motherland. Our motherland is an interesting place.
Yeah.
Many people have seen Africa as a place of dirt. When you search for Africa or our country, Nigeria, on the internet right now, most of the pictures that you see are pictures of malnourished children, of
Mhm.
cities that look like nothing of the present, but everything of the past. Everything that look like waste and poverty, multi-dimensional poverty, to put it in their words. Um, but Africa long ago carried an ancient glory. I mean, long before the world called itself civilized, Africa was a stage on which civilization first performed its own miracles. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say, right? If you look at it along the banks of River Nile in Egypt, men in those days gazed at the stars and mapped the heavens with mathematical precision. All right. They raised monuments of stone so exact in alignment that they will tell us that there is no way it was humans that built the Pyramid of Giza. That aliens, there are all kinds of conspiracy theories that aliens came down and built that Pyramid of Giza that we see there. Oh, Jesus. How perfect could a man be that all his other men will refuse to believe his own achievement and call it that he's a higher being from another planet that came down to build it? That was how powerful the ancient Egyptians were in Africa, right? Egypt was not merely a kingdom, it was a laboratory of time, of geometry, of cosmic language. Their knowledge at that time was sacred, right? It was encoded in architecture, hidden within symbols, right? And protected by priest scientists who understood that wisdom, once made common, lost its power, right? So they found a way to hold it together, right? From the Kemet spirits that spread south and west in Kush and Nubia, right? Black kings ruled with intellect and order. And not just them have the power, even their queen were powerful enough to command armies, right? And they preside over trade routes that connected continent, right? Gold used to flow here in Africa like water. If we could find the image of ancient Africa and Africa of now, there's going to be a huge difference, a significant difference, because there in the in the past, you will see pictures of Africans that are covered in good earrings, good bangles, good accessories, right? Jewels and all those kind of things. Egyptians were mostly the throwers to that act, and then Israelites picked it from there, right? But if you look at the pictures of now, all they look like is just manor street and all those other things that look like everything that doesn't look like the present. I didn't even get what I'm trying to say. Gold flowed like water here in Africa, right? Libraries were temples of power centuries later. Even still, the sands of Mali and Songhai, the city of Timbuktu, rose as the Silicon Valley of their own age, right? Scholars from Persia, from Arabia, from Europe came down to study in our own academies where mathematics, medicine, astronomy, philosophy flourished. You've heard of the first university that was built here, the University of, I think, Alexandria in Egypt. It was here. All of this started from here. The manuscript of Timbuktu, thousands of men, thousands of them still are hidden today. We've not found them. We don't know what secrets exist in them, right? They record equations and medical treatises that predate the European Renaissance that we used to follow up to today. Right? Across the Congo Basin, the artistry reached divine precision, right? The bronze casters that are sculpted things that even no Europeans could replicate with modern tools, right? All they could do was just come steal it from here and take it to their place, right? Every curve of those bronze carried both aesthetics that is perfect and carries this depth of political theology of their time, right? They depicted not just the mere rulers of their time, but cosmic order, the union of man, of spirit, and of matter, right? And it goes on and on and on and on. There are many of the stories that come out of Africa. In fact, here's the part that interests me the most. You probably see the visual next week, but let me tell you about it. You see, long ago in the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth, and then he said that the water should give way for the earth, for dry land. You'll probably read that in Genesis 1. Right? All of the earth where dry land was in one single place. They were not scattered abroad in continent. They were just one single place. And you probably read in Genesis what they say in the days of Peleg, where the earth got split, right? And continents started to form. You see that all these continents started to drift off. But the only part that remained in the center was Africa. Africa has always been known to be the mother of mankind. Africa is what true glory and spirit and soul and in body has always been known. Right? Africa was a continent that was not defined by color or poverty, but by pure genius and order. And many of the inventions we see today were not necessarily produced by the white people. They were produced by black people who functioned under white people, and the white people took advantage of the work. This is not conspiracy theory. There are many of these things out there, but people refuse to believe them. Some of them are now being turned into movies that we see tonight. Right? What I'm trying to say in essence is that Africans were the first alchemists, or were the first architects and astronomers. We did not imitate nature, we conversed with it. Long before the whites started to discover quantum computing as that kind of computer that speaks the language of nature. I don't think any group of people speaks the language of nature better than Africans themselves. Right? So it means there were strategic positions to become the seat of intelligence, not just because of our past, but because of the present potentials that we carry. right? To become the seat of intelligence and also to become the seat of computing for the future, right? So, um, even with all of this glory that we had in the past, we still committed a lot of problems. Yet, nearly 420 million young people between the ages of 15 to 35, that is about one fourth of our population, are unemployed. And that is very discouraging. That's 420 million people, right, that are unemployed in this continent alone, right? And I believe that number is probably an underestimate what the true number is, right? In 2025, it is estimated that 121 million youth, about 23% of the age group I mentioned earlier, that's between 15 to 35, are classified as not in education, right? And that signifies the massive loss of couples, of potentials, of millions of young people, or their heart walking to a world that says they are not ready, they don't have the for you, right? If you look at education, the youth dream and what the system is big. And results from surrounding Africa itself. Over a third of our young people aged 15 to 24 have not completed their primary school here in Africa. This is the same Africa that is started to be uneducated. Even among those that are attend school, the learning outcomes are poor. The literacy is dropping in four in 10 African countries, right? Primary completion averages over at about 63% compared to the world average of 87%, right? So even with all the glory we had in the past, we still face all of this problem in the present. And it's important we ask ourselves, what exactly happened? How do we go from being the leaders, where the first Asian civilization, the global world powers, Egypt past, now are the ones falling behind and watching from, or being the dogs who pick the crumbs that are falling from the table, right? So it's a very long way going, and it's important we start to look at these things and start to see how we can walk back to the top. Africa has a lot of potentials. And I believe that there are a set of three technologies that could come together, if brought together, could help us unlock the power of the current. All right. So my name is Solomon Taiwo Abali. And like I mentioned earlier, I am 20 years old and I'm the chief operating officer of the Smart House. The Smart House is a youth empowerment organization that transforms ordinary young people from who they used to be before, out there on the street, from on the south areas, they went to public schools and low-fee private schools, and they didn't know really how to find their dream. All these young people that are smart, that probably at first, second, or fourth in their high school, all of them aggregated in their gap year program, and then in their gap years, and then brought to a gap year program, right? All of them together form a community that we call the Smart House, right? And I'm a life product of that. 3 years ago, I was just an ordinary college boy. Like I said, I'm doing more of the talking now. Next week, you see all of the pictures of what I used to be in the past, right? An ordinary college boy who just used to wash cars. It was so tough in my family then because my parent divorced, and I was only living with my mom and my grandparent. So the only person capable enough to actually go out there and find things to do apart from my mom was me, right? So sometimes I would skip school to wash cars in the daytime, pack sand in the evening to sell bags of sand, and on some days just go from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. to work at a local India wine factory. But even with all of those things that I faced in that period, there is always this passion that bond within me. Is that I remember there was a time where Lagos was running what they call Code Lagos. Code Lagos. I think it was during the reign of what's them again? The tenure of was our past governor, Akumi Ambody. Yes, Akumi Ambody. He ran this Code Lagos, and I was an IM junior school then. I learned Scratch and other things like that. So it's as I started to learn programming, I realized that it's like it was unlocking this primordial force that was locked inside of me. It's like I started to realize that I have passion for this thing so much, so strong that one of the main reason why I left home to go to the street to wash cars, to pack sand, and then work in a local Indian wine factory was because I actually wanted to get a device that I could use to code. Because I had a little phone that I received from my grandma. It was either A31, 8 gig RAM, 1 gig RAM, right? At the 8 gig, okay, one of the reverse, yeah, 8 gig, 1 gig device. And I was using to write Python code during a period. And then every time after washing a car, I would just take a pause, clean the water on my body, pick up the phone, and then started to write code in Python 3 app on my device then. I remember there was this program, I wrote a lot of programs on it, posted a few of them on GitHub. I was just 15, 16 during that period. And then there was this process that I created in the coronavirus period, COVID-19 period in 2020. I remember that I was reading this Washington Post and I saw a formula of how we could model how coronavirus spreads in a city. So I picked up that formula. Then I went ahead to write a code to simulate how coronavirus is spread in a place like Lagos using the open source data during that period. So I picked up the formula, picked up the data, put everything together, and then I was able to simulate how coronavirus was spread in Lagos, the number of deaths it could have, the number of people that will recover in the next few days, and everything like that. Right. So the founder of this one now saw it and I was like, wow, I want these keys and everything things like that. And then saw the potential in me, picked me up from the streets, brought me to this house and started to transform me. And then that whole transformation journey started when I joined the Smart and Crucible. Right, the Smart and Crucible is like this 6 to 8 weeks intensive Smart and Culture Crucible. Is a 6 to 8 weeks in residential program where the young people that are in it get to be forged to be different people. They start to think about dominating field, not just coming out from high school and becoming ordinary POS guys on the street, understanding the potential they carry on the inside, understanding the assignment that is placed upon the shoulder, and the burning of proof that they have to give to their generation. Right? To rescue other young people that are out there on the street, they're looking for the next meal that you do not have, or there's no guarantee that they even survive tomorrow. There are many people like ourselves that are still seeking for a daily need. The mother and fathers are gone, and they only have themselves to survive. All those young people are out on the street. And on the opposite side, we have no elite to look up to. My generation, Gen Zs, have almost no elite. If I could say, let me mention 5 Gen Zs today that are doing incredible job. I'll probably, if I start a count, will stop at 2 or 3 people. And those people are not enough to be able to convince our generation to move from the dark path that they're following, that we call the scam culture. The scam culture is ravaging our society. A lot of our young people are now beginning to drop out of school so they could go join the scam culture. I remember recently while we are conducting one analysis in this man house, we're having an intel session, and we saw that the percentage over the years, over the past 8 years, the percentage of young males that graduate out of high school, writing their work, write their work and graduate of high school has dropped, right? And is now on the upside for females, right? And we found out that during that same 8 years, as the decline, as we experienced decline in males dropping out of high school, we noticed that there was also an increase in males that are joining the scam culture, right? We saw the AFCC database that they put out there, and we saw that a lot of the people that was captured within the past few years were captured within the past 8 years. The same 8 years that we've been experiencing a decline in a number of males that have dropped out of high school. Right, so we noticed that it seems like the scam culture is beginning to take a lot of hold on our young people, right? And we need to be able to create an alternative culture. That is why the whole Spanner culture exists, right? And every young person in the Spanner house is supposed to create some sort of project that are going to work on. And that project has to deeply align to something they are deeply in love with, right? Something it connects with their ikigai. Right, we understand that people who go on to eventually do things that do not connect with what they really love, what they're really passionate about, eventually do not put in 100%. Neither do they really deliver a gift to the world that is long lasting. All of the people that have done something that we use up to today, even 100 years after they've died, are those who do things that are deeply connected to what they love, that they notice that they have a natural predilection towards these things and they started to do them. until they birth something that bless the world in general. All right. So personally for me, I realized that in love with artificial intelligence. I mean, I started to think out with GPT-2 on I think it was Organ Face GPT-2 right there when I was still in high school, SS1 during the period when OpenAI was not really known by most people. And I'll go and meet my friends and tell them that, oh, I could help you write your essay for WIAC. Just pay me this particular amount. It didn't really go through because the LLM was not really strong during that period. But then I was really fascinated by it. I explored it a bit until GPT 3.5 came up in, I think, November 2022. And I started to until we exploit until we got to this point. Right. So over the years, we've seen the evolution of this thing that we call AI. Right. I've also seen the decline in how Africa is growing in reverse. Right. We've seen how Africa is going in reverse. We've seen how the scam culture is ravaging our society. We've seen where Africa could be heading to if we continue to do the same things that we're doing now. Right. So my ACOM project, or every smartphone is working on an ACOM project. Other projects we're working on is called an ACOM because we believe that for us to be able to create the forest of tomorrow, forest of oak trees, we have to start planting the acorn trees now. Because one of the biggest trees in the world is called an oak tree, and it still is very, very small. They said it's called an acorn, right? So I might not know what I'm going to do for the next 80 years of my entire life, but then I know I could decide what I could do for the next 10 years, right? So the project I'm working on is called Tesseract because I've noticed that the cybersecurity landscape is beginning to evolve past the three-dimensional layer that we know it has. And a lot of our cybersecurity experts are now trying to upskill themselves to be able to catch up to the speed at which AI is moving. Right? I was reading the news last 2 weeks that was dropped on the community and now lead. One of the chief knowledge officers dropped an update, and it said that phishing is now more advanced than it used to be before. There's now something they call dynamic phishing, where phishing is normally static, where they'll create a semblance of an authentic site, and then you probably go log in, and it looks like the real deal. You sign into your application, but you don't know that the login credentials just entered is entering somebody's private account, and they could use that to hack you some other time. Right now, when you want to practice phishing, it's now much more dynamic. The site and everything now adapts to the particular user or to the target at every point in time. Right, AI is now beginning to become far more advanced than most people can catch up with. Right, so we need to be able to scale our tools to match up with these things. We need to be able to upgrade them to match up to what AI is. I remember there was this news that came up last year, I think it was April last year, where there was a chief financial officer of an organization. He received an email to send a particular amount to another partner organization, and then he doubted the authenticity of the mail, right? Because it was his boss that was sending it, and it was doubted. I'm like, the boss will just reach out to send it. I'm like, although he got out authoritative because of his role, but then it won't just ask me to send this particular amount at this time of the day. And then, all right, how about we get on the Zoom call? All right, and then the boss sent his Zoom call link, and they joined the call. Saw the boss, started talking. I was like, okay, how about you? I'm still doubting the authenticity of this. How about you invite some of our workers to join them? Right? Link was sent to them. The others joined in, and they started to chat. They already did fun time. And after a few minutes, they ended the call. They transferred, I think it was $25 million to the other person, the other organization. Then after a while, realized that they had just been scammed. The person that was sending these mails to him was not the boss.
Tough.
The person that was not that was sending these mails to him was not the boss himself. It was an attacker somewhere, a threat actor on the other side that had created a fake email, right, to be able to perform a business email compromise on him. The call he went on to see the boss himself and the co-workers was and it looked so real that it couldn't even tell the difference between the face and the voice. Right. That's how bad it has gotten. Right. So the threat landscape in the cybersecurity field has now evolved past what our current tools can handle, and AI is moving faster than Moore's law can catch up with. Right, so we need to be able to build tools that will match up to what this thing is going to. And one way thing that AI is moving so fast, AI is just a baby compared to what is coming that they call quantum computers. Right, this one's good. Oh my god, they lit.
Solomon,
Yes.
yeah. So can I interrupt you a little bit? So I think I like the way the conversation is quite shifting and the way we started, which is really amazing. So
Okay.
and I just feel like we should. I know like next week, next session, we're going to like do the full deep dive into the three AI, quantum computing, and cybersecurity. But I just feel like we should dwell more now on. I want like based on your introduction, I know it has sparked a lot of things in people, and that's like the change we need, the fire we need to spark in the young Africans to see like to make them see beyond just the normal. Like there's a lot of potential that you have, and you need to be able to unlock that potential. And I think one of the things Smart and House did for you was unlock that potential. Yeah, everybody might not have the opportunity to know to go to Smart and House, but then this conversation can spark something in you. And if there's anything that I want everybody, like as you are living years, I want something to spark in you, because that's the change that we need. So basically, it's still on. We are still going to speak like on the tractor. I can't still pronounce it very well, but then I'll get used to. But then more of like now, let's talk about based on what you gave us a bit of introduction to Africa as a continent, our history. And they say history is the basis of innovation. If you don't know the history, where we are coming from, you will never we need to know where we are coming from, the current state we are, and where we are going to. So like let's just talk about let's just talk about Africa, like future and technology. And you've given us a good introduction on where Africa is coming from. And it has to open your eyes to a lot of things that see we have actually like things have changed a lot. Like we've gone down so far, and we have a lot of work, to like come up from that. And we need to see our potential. Like we doubted our potentials. Like take for example now, look at what is happening in Nigeria currently with Trump threatening Nigeria with everything and everybody. The youths of Nigeria go to social media, Twitter, just say what they can say. But then for me, it showed me something. It's like, yeah, Trump is the president of the like maybe the most powerful country in the world, but there's nobody that can actually like stand up to him and tell him like we should be able to speak for ourselves. Like enough of like people just sidelining us as Africa. They just want to use us as like, oh come on, just move to that side and everything. We should be able to speak up. And one of the things is we need agency as youth, like the agency, like that agency to be able to like stand up. You don't need permission. You don't need to give you permission to do what you have been called to do. Like that's what you are born to do. I don't know if you get me. Like you are born for greatness. We are born for greatness. So you don't need people giving you the permission to like go ahead, fulfill your dreams, attack your dreams as the way you want it to be. So I don't know if you get my point. So yeah, just let's talk about that, and then we just like spark fires, and then let's just see how it goes.
Yes. I love what you really talked about, and I mean it's an open conversation. This is a
Yeah.
point where people just come in and talk about these things. But before I we could allow people to speak, that I just want to say something. I'm a Gen Z. I love movies. I still consider myself very much a teenager, and there's one movie that I love that I would like to mention, and that is Black Panther. Black Panther is Stan Lee's last message to African, that we carry the kind of power that most people do not know. Africa is the world's best kept secret, and those who know about these things are seeking to exploit it before we even realize it. So that's why that man was able to send that message to us before he went ahead to create Avengers Endgame, and then may so rest in peace. Right? Africa is the world's best kept secret. Vibranium is not a material thing. Vibranium in that movie represents our people. It's not just the natural resources, it's the people, the mind that we have up here could go ahead and create the kind of technologies that is so woven with with our tradition that most people cannot tell the difference between tech and our culture. It's so woven together. That kind of future is can be created if all of us young people can embrace the power of agency to not just wait for those IOPS to build this thing, but then start to decide on our own level to build. I see. One thing we understand in this manner, we always say in this manner now is that this if this nation will not give this generation, if they will not give this generation a better nation, then we're going to raise a better generation for the nation, right? All of the people that are going to rule us 40 years from now are the ones on this call.
Yeah.
So if we're going to live in those times, we cannot afford that those who are not going to be alive to kind of direct our future, to start to decide what that future. So that Africa would inadvertently be the leader across quantum and AI field. So I really think that what you talked about was interesting, that we started embrace the power of agency to build this thing, to start to prepare for the future. Like I always say, the best way to prepare for the rain is to build ark before the rain falls. So we can all consider ourselves Noahs of our own time, trying to preach the gospel and then calling on all kinds of people to come and join us in the ark, right? And we're building all the cubit methods according to the divine blueprint that we received from the heaven, so that we could survive the flood coming tomorrow. So there's a flood coming, definitely.
Yeah.
But it's all that matters is who is building the ark and are we building the ark. All right. So I think this is the point where we get to have a fire conversation. We'll just keep it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what
yeah.
are your thoughts about this? So what are your
So-
thoughts about this?
I think you are right. Like, man, it's actually the ark. And if you look at the Noah story, is that how many people entered the ark out of, let's say, the millions of people that were on earth? How many people? Like, when the Bible says many are called but few are chosen. Like, so it's really important. Like, I want like everybody on the scope pick something. Is that, please, I want you to be lion-hearted. Go out there and make that burning passion in you. What's that thing that's been burning in you? Like that change that you don't need permission to do it. Just go out there, get it done. That's now I'm going to that, but I'm going to like look at another story, the story of David. Like he didn't need the permission of his brother to go and face Goliath. Come on, like it's definitely something that he has been meditating over. I think that's where it comes to like visioning and everything, where he has been looking at it. And when the opportunity came, yeah, there's something I read recently that said, okay, talent is everywhere. Like everybody has talent, but the challenge is opportunity is not equal, right? But the people that are going to like create the future or change the future are those that can see the opportunity and you are willing to like risk your all, like you are willing to go for it. Like there's a funny way somebody said, talked about the Noah story. It was like, imagine Noah. I think he spent years building the ark, even though like more than, I don't know, but let's say like more than 100 years building the ark. So the person was like, imagine Noah, like he was knocking wood for how many years? Like he was just eating wood. But then there was something he saw. Do you get? There was something that he saw, like gave him that agency to like believe the vision and then prepare for it. And when it came, when the rain came, it was actually saved. So yeah, I mean, over to you. Like, what do you think?
Yeah. So let me get it. I think Noah spent within 40 to 75 years building the
Yes.
ark. Almost a century. Believing in the cause so much that I spent is almost Jesus. That takes a lot. So let us hear the thoughts. So what are you currently doing in fueling the course for us to build this arc to prepare for the field of the future? So what are your new things about quantum and how Africa could take advantage of it? I have a lot to say about this, but many of it will be covered next week in my own presentation. This is like a fireside chat.
All right.
So
Let
me hear your thoughts. I think I see Victor, I see Favor, Samuel, Asupo Samuel, Moses, Udonsi, Chibukem just joined, and Jesuloba, Blessed Agbola. So, your thoughts, Victor?
So,
What
Yeah,
was that?
anybody can do. So I think the call is open now. Everybody, like, you can contribute. Let's have it. So who wants to go first? I should call names. Victor Adijokun, do you want to speak? Be bold, like, come on, go for it.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi. Hello, Victor. Good afternoon.
So basically, sorry, the question again, please.
So I'll
Hello, are
just
you
say,
there?
yeah. I'll just say, like, based on everything we've discussed so far, like, what are you looking into? Like, what's that dream you are believing so much? Just go ahead and share with us.
Okay, about quantum computing, I really think is something that gives Africa something powerful, and it offers a new path where we do not need to wait for the rest of the world to reach us, but instead we can build from the front. Just as the way Martin Solomon said, where he gave the example of Africa being the cradle of civilization, the cradle of technology, the cradle of mathematics, sciences, medicine, and everything. I feel like quantum computing gives us that platform where we can move from being in the back of the tech world to going to the front and leading the Western countries into a new future in tech. And that new future in tech is quantum computing. So I see quantum computers as something that would solve problems that would normally take years of processing and will solve it in minutes. I don't know if you get my point, but
Yeah.
from the point of quantum computer, I can see that agriculture becomes quite smarter because we can model the way weather and soil data with more accuracy. You get me? And
Yeah.
that way it will help farmers to know the best time to plant and improve harvest. You see, just as the way they did in the ancient times, where they had a lot of different rituals to determine when is the best time to plant, where they asked the gods, should we plant now, should we not plant now, should we plant later, to confirm the weather and the soil fertility at that particular time. I think quantum computing is looking like we're going back to our roots. But instead of us asking the gods if we should plant, we are working with data, we are working with facts, we are working with the things we have available to like process if we should plant now, if the weather conditions will be okay for this particular kind of crops. So that's basically how I see quantum computing. Even in medicine, quantum computing can also speed up drug discovery by analyzing genetic information. If science says that our DNA contains a lot of junks, I think about 98% of our DNA is junks that have no meaning. But I feel like with quantum computing, we can actually discover meaning into the junks that are deep inside our DNA. So basically, that's everything I think about quantum computing. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. That's incredible. That's
That's
incredible, Victor.
really,
So Victor is a part of my community, the control room, and
oh,
recently just got out of the pre-smart and crucible 3 to 4 days retreats that we had recently. So I
that's
could really
amazing.
relate to some of the things you said.
Yeah.
And before we move on, I want to share this thing on my screen for you to see. I don't know if anybody can see what I'm sharing. Can you see it?
Yeah, we
Can
can
you see the
see
map?
it.
See
Yeah.
the map, right? It's this global map that shows the global effort in 2025 and quantum.
Yeah.
And if you look, it shows it's a hot map, so you can see the different parts of the world and how much they're contributing to it. Look at Africa.
Can't see, man.
The only place highlighted is South Africa. Everywhere is zero, nothing, absolutely nothing. Which means that we have to start doing a lot in raising awareness for this because awareness leads to action, and
Yeah.
action actually goes to bring up new inventions, and then that brings in leadership for the future. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you're
So,
right.
so this is a big view. It's really concerning, and I don't know what do you guys think about this? Like Victor was quantum is Africa's chance to rule, and here we are, we're doing absolutely nothing about it. Right? We have no quantum strategy. We have all we have is just ESA. They just keep saying words right there in National Assembly, whatever they're doing there, or in ministry. But we do not have any AI strategy also, right? And
Yeah.
this is how it's supposed to rule. If one country could have a really functional AI, let's say really functional quantum computer, let's say what's the name? Um in the United States, for example, or an enemy of Nigeria, we are doomed. We need to be able to protect ourselves from that future, not just protect ourselves, but also rule in that future, right? So, and the people who are actually supposed to create that future for us are those of us on this call. So it's time we start to take active steps to doing these things, right? So I want to hear your thoughts. What are your thoughts on these things? Thank you
So,
very
so
much. For love
yeah,
perspective you
yeah.
brought
So
in.
when Victor said godlike, that's literally the way it feels like. Quantum feels like that godlike mood. Like I don't know if you get my point. That's the way
Yes.
quantum feels like. And looking at this, looking at this map, I think when you look at it, what I see is like there's this vast opportunity that we have. We have the opportunity. See, yeah, talent, it's everywhere. Yeah, opportunity too might not be everywhere, but then you don't have to wait for the opportunities to come. You create your opportunities. And looking at this landscape, look at it like look at Africa, and Nigeria is like the trigger for Africa. Just imagine we can start something here that creates a ripple effect all over Africa. That would be really awesome, which is really, really amazing. Like it's really amazing. So yeah, any other person that wants to add to, that wants to just share your thoughts. I see Favor, Fred on the call, just Joba, Destiny, anybody, you can unmute and just, share your thoughts.
Yeah, Favor Alfred, Asoko Samo.
Nobody is,
All right.
okay,
Good morning, guys. I mean, good
yeah,
Hello,
afternoon.
good
Samo. Good
afternoon.
afternoon, actually.
Yeah. Quite a discussion here, and actually, it's very, very interesting. The ideas and everything. So, for my take on quantum computing, all I can just say is that it's a new world entirely. And with the advent of AI, the way people have been, so people have just been saying like AI will take over their jobs, AI will like replace them, AI. So I just want to chip these things, not like how will I put this? It's just like something that I perceive and is actually going to be true. So definitely when quantum computing becomes very, very like when it comes to the limelight eventually and it becomes very like pronounced and all of that, definitely there are still people that will come out and be like quantum computing will, take over their jobs by then, it will like replace them. So I just want to just chip this in and be like, quantum computing necessarily is not going to like take over anything. Instead, it's going to like advance our knowledge, it's going to propel our innovations. And one thing that if you look at it now, one thing that has been stopping us, or one thing that has made us humans to be far away from development is time. So for me, with the advent of quantum computing, that time will be reduced. Everything will become faster. Innovations will tend to like, come up spontaneously, fast, fast. You start to see innovations here and there, and with that, the world will become a better place. Yeah. So that's just what I want to say.
That's really amazing. Really, really amazing. One of the things that is very important, even around technology generally, it's is the narrative. Like the narrative is very important. Like narrative around technology. When I say narrative, is that when they said AI will take your job, that created like it creates a lot of fear. And what does it lead to? It leads to everybody's trying to do AI, and we say we don't like. Well, the way I see it is we just everybody becomes the level becomes mediocre where it's just average. We explore this technology at an average level. We don't really go in depth, and I think that's one of our problems. So let's
Exactly.
start with let's look at like African like Nigeria technology ecosystem when the likes of Paystack and those first fintech started, then before you know it now everybody's trying to build a new fintech company in Africa or in Nigeria. That's where the problem comes in, where we don't see other species and try to go in there. So that's the same thing with this technology, where the narrative is very important. like the narrative around the technology. So it's not just, coming to, yeah, quantum is not necessarily even going to like change the way a lot of things. It's just going to help us explore territories that we have not gone into before, which makes it really amazing. Yeah, do you have anything to say, Solomon? Oh, you are muted. You're muted,
Yes, I
Solomon.
said
Okay.
yes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I also want to show you something else. Maybe
Okay.
this would trigger somebody's interest to try to build something for Africa, because it seems like in all aspects we're far behind. Now, what you can see something on the screen, right? This is something that
Yes.
has really caught my attention for I think about a year now. Right? Is the ASPI critical technology tracker. All right, and these are 44 critical technologies in the world right now, and out of this, about 37 of them, China is leading in about 37 of these technologies, and USA is leading in the other 7. Africa is not a country. These two other ones are not they are countries, but they're not continents. Africa, a continent of its own, not one country can be found on this list. No one in top 10. None. For you to understand how far behind we are in things like this, these are some of the things that I included in the slides I was going to show, but then that'll be for next
Yes.
week, right?
Yeah.
But that is just for you to understand how that in so many things we're far behind, but then it is now upon us to start to raise the awareness, especially in quantum computing, right? I strongly believe that AI, cybersecurity, and quantum computing is Africa's chance to rule the future. In fact, there's this new challenge. In fact, I think this is probably the best baseline to start this. So I know everybody can hear me. Um, Maybe I'll probably just use this medium. Officially, it's done next week, Saturday on the call. But then there are about 10 of us here. 10 people can cause a revolution that will shake an entire nation, or for a start, an entire state. How about we start a mission to make Lagos State the most quantum aware community in the world? Think about it.
Yeah.
We can start from the control room, from rebel to quell. Imagine two of them coming together just for that one thing. I've started to think about it, but it's still fragments and pieces that I'm trying to put together. But you understand? Imagine that. Imagine our young people are not just becoming aware of what is now, but are becoming aware of what could be. I know AI is everywhere now. Everybody, especially when you spoke about, oh, every Nigerian trying to do a startup are more of fintech. Oh, Jesus, I need to take a break. Let's start to think of something different, right? Quantum technology has the power to transform everything. In fact, there was a video that I'd like to show you. I have all these things. I'm going to show you in the next slide. This is just like a sort of
Yeah.
there are many things that I have listed out for you to see. In that video, it was, I think it is probably um, words to what to use. The story does not really exist, but it was an animation that features like some sort of breaking news that a professor here in Ibadan, Nigeria, right, found a way to extend the coherence time of a quantum computer. That is the time a quantum computer is able to hold its state before it breaks or interacts by interacting with the environment to 47 minutes. Where the world is still trying to grapple with the seconds that they have. That was in the video, right? It does not exist. But that whole hypothetical news, right, some sort of breaking news, told me about what Africa could truly be, right? We're going to lead in this thing. In fact, my dad, which is just Nabali, the founder of Spanano, always tells me this. He said, believe the tale, not the teller. Again, believe the tale, not the teller, because often the teller always receive ideas that it doesn't even know where they come from. Humans are like walking antennas, receive ideas from everywhere.
Yeah.
The universe is filled with ideas, and anybody who is in the right frequency can just grapple it and then transmit it to whatever expression that he has. right? So whoever was creating that video thought that okay, we're just trying to create a content to post on TikTok and people gonna like it, and I say, oh, we're gonna build this future. But then that is a message that is passing to some set of people, and it could be those people on this call to create that future. I didn't even understand what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say. Imagine we have the most quantum aware community in all of the world. That means we are creating a breeding ground for us to actually bring that to life, to have so that in the next decade, quantum computers, as predicted by the old IBM quantum timeline, we're going to have a practical quantum computer in at least 5 years. That's what they say, right?
Yeah.
But we understand that people like Jensen Huang of Nvidia is showing a lot of skepticism, and they say it might not really be available until like 10 years. The guy literally called some of those big quantum guys, PSI Quantum, Quantinum, and all those guys, be on panel sets, and I started to last them one by one. But then he's going to suffer for it. All right. He thinks that it's only the GPU that he created that's going to rule on the future. Oh, really, brother. But I'm glad it's beginning to take baby steps and getting engaged in quantum computer. I hope his $5 trillion doesn't get lost in this, because a new revolution is coming. And those
Yeah.
who are feet ahead and start to think that will inadvertently become the leader of tomorrow. Right? If you notice, all of oh Jesus, how do I say this? God, give me the words. See, there is something that people always call delusional, right? If some people is somebody is called delusional, it means they're not thinking like everybody else are thinking.
Yeah.
Right? We figure that it's all those delusional people that eventually go on to create things that all our people will see and will think is just illusion. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine a community as big as Lagos is quantum aware. They know about what quantum computer is. Some of them are even beginning to think of new career pathways in quantum mechanics, quantum physics, quantum technology, quantum sensing, quantum communication, quantum computer itself, the hardware, the software algorithms, and all those things, or post quantum cryptography, PQC, and other areas, all those application areas for quantum computers. And they're looking at these things because it's really going to be available in the next 5 to 10 years, right? And all those young people from primary five, the secondary schools, primary schools, and like, by the time I get out of secondary school, I want to become a quantum professor, or I want to become a quantum scientist, or I want to become a quantum computer programmer. All those things like that, and they are beginning to dream of this now, not waiting until that time where the world has started to create technology, and we again, as of old, start to feed and become consumers. But this time, we are thinking ahead. We are beginning to launch hackathons. We're beginning to launch challenges. We have all kinds of podcasts all over the place. We have campaigns all over the place. We have sites where people could learn for free about quantum computers and all these other things for free. And it's like we've created a whole ecosystem of quantum where people could learn these things and say, all right, I really would love to become a quantum scientist in the future. And by that time comes, they build the prerequisite knowledge enough to be able to compete and be on par with any other Chinese child that have been learning about these things too. For us to be able to rule in the future, we have to start to plant the seeds. Like I
Now,
said before, for us to be able to survive the flood that is coming,
build our
right? To start to build our arc starting from now. Right. So this is an idea I'm just pushing out. Right.
Yeah.
It's something I've started to speak with Victor that I spoke about for the control room. But I think there's something we could do with Robot Squall and those other
Yeah.
people to start
So
to see if we can launch this campaign to see how we can make Lagos the most quantum aware community. Going to
this
the
is
street, making them aware about these things. Start to do things, not just talk, but actually start to launch things. Imagine, apart from making these people aware, we also have this site where, although we're not probably the one building the content, but there they could access all kinds of free online content in one single place. It's like these things are scattered abroad, right? They are free. Not many people know about it. But in this site, we're able to bring all of it together, and with AI communicates in such a way that anybody on the other end can deeply understand it at their level what quantum computer is and their immediate application, right? Right. I think it was 13 days ago, I think a week or two, it's more than a week, that Google launched, they created Quantum Echo, right?
yeah.
Is their new algorithm that is starting after being tested, is to starting 1,000 times faster than a classical computer, or the fastest supercomputer could run it. I think that's the frontier computer, supercomputer, right? 13,000 times faster than a normal supercomputer. That's the first verifiable quantum um, algorithm, right? That actually works, right? So imagine the next one is coming from Nigeria.
Yeah, such an
Imagine the
amazing.
next. Do you we keep talking bragging about Philip Kemek Buali or whoever from the past that created this supercomputer in 1980s. We could do our own now. Even if
Yeah,
it's going to be the next 5 years, we start to plant the seeds now. The next child that's probably going to be the next the what do you call it? The supercomputer that would be able to survive room temperature, that's able to function at room temperature, might just be in primary 5 right now. And they don't know anything about these things. It's time we
yeah,
start to plant these seeds in their mind. So
yeah,
I think this thing is more than just strategic, but more prophetic. That all of us are together on this call to
yeah.
build this, right?
Yes.
I
So I
remember
like.
any sorry. I remember anytime I try to learn about artificial intelligence, they're always taking me back to the Dartmouth conference that happened in the 1960s, right? About how all of those people came together and defined and coined the word artificial intelligence, and then said this is what artificial intelligence is going to be, and they started to come together to become the first pioneers of quantum computers. We again can create history, but this time in Africa. So um, welcome to a new world. Let's do this
Yeah.
again.
So I that's amazing. You know, you said something that it's prophetic. I think it's really prophetic. Really, really prophetic. Why do I say that? You know, in reboots, we've been looking at that. That first of all, one of the most important thing that needs to happen is awareness about the technology. And when we started doing our research, we discovered that the only way we can create a good awareness is access to the education. And when you look at the quantum education, it's high. There was a platform we saw. If you know how much you have to pay just to access that knowledge, and one of the things that help technology flourish is the fact that once the access to it or the barrier of entry is reduced, people have access to it. People can create more, and we're even so basically what we're thinking about was we're thinking about how can we create this like open source educational platform where Nigerians can go and access the knowledge, because before you can access quantum knowledge now, you have to either you are doing a master's or you are doing a PhD. Come on. And before you can do that, that's like you have to go abroad, then look at the expenses and everything. So the education is quite expensive. And if we must like build for the future, we need education, and not just any type of education, proper education, like not the ones like proper education. There are schools like in US that right from grade schools they are already like interacting with quantum technology. Come on, like you mentioned something about China. A Chinese student, a Chinese child at very young age, look at what they're already interacting with. Then you will not expect like a Nigerian, like even a university student that finished university in Nigeria might not be able to compete with that level, because look at that age, that child's already interacting with that. So access to education is quite low. So basically we are jumping on this, like we are not waiting actually. So we are actually jumping on this, which is very important. Another thing we're also thinking about is we need to create awareness in schools. In fact, we're looking at starting in universities. Like universities, like still it's still like okay, like let's say when you start in university, like people they are still high, they can understand like the technology, some maybe in the computer science department. When you look at that map that I showed, nothing is actually going on in Africa, in this part of Africa. South Africa is they are a bit ahead. Like South Africa has done a lot actually,
Yeah.
and the likes of country like I think Morocco too has done a lot. Like those countries, they are really
Morocco,
doing a lot.
Rwanda, Egypt.
Yes, they are really doing a lot. I think there was a conference that I had in Ghana this year. One of the
Yes, Africa Quantum Consortium had that.
exactly. So we need to wake up. Like Nigeria needs to wake up. Like, come on, wake up. We need to like be the trigger to shift like the perspective. In fact, yeah, South Africa has been doing a lot of things, but then the perspective we bring to this thing is going to also create the ripple effect around other African countries, because we actually want to lead. Africa will lead in this quantum decade. Africa is going to lead. We are not going to be like playing catch up. So just like you're saying, like we're looking at it, how can we create a tour around university to create an awareness about this technology? So I think we're going to speak more about this and see how we need to create the movement. We want to be the movement. We are the arrowhead. Like we are the one building the ark for these people to come in, and which is really amazing. So just like you said, this is really prophetic. I mean, thank God we're all here because so it's really amazing. Anybody that has any other thing to say, like, what's that thing? I know, like, just by being on this call, something has been sparked in you, like something has been ignited in you, like, and you know, you need community to fan the flames, and that's why we are here on this call. So, like, please unmute your mic, share what you have been thinking about, and how we can, fan the flames together. So, anybody?
Yeah, I think I see Chibuke Modonzi. He's also in my
Oh,
community
that's
from
amazing.
Abia State. Before he speaks, I just saw this news recently. It dropped an hour or two ago. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, Elon Musk said he wants to build the headquarters for what's
Quantum.
the, no the what how did they even call it? He wants to establish Twitter Africa headquarters in Abia State.
Wow, that's amazing. That's
And
amazing.
because Governor Oti with the Learning Factory are currently running this. I think it's a 3 months program for 850 of the young people. I think from ages of 16 or 18 to 40. Right, they train them in 10 track tech skills. Right, to prepare them for the future. And why that whole preparation is happening, somebody is bringing job opportunities for them. So I really think that a lot of people are beginning to recognize that Africa is awakening. In fact, I have a lot to say to you guys next week because we are at the cusp of a new age. You have absolutely no idea what this 2025 to 2026 could mean. There's a
Yeah.
lot that's going to be opening up for us next week, depending on how where we are this year, 2025. In fact, let me just drop this one. I'm going to talk more about it next week. But then, if you look at it in year 2000, right, in the year 2000, right, late 1990s and 2000, there was something that started to happen in India that launched, that opened up India to a global market. If you now look, some of the big Fortune 500 companies today, Microsoft, Google, and these other places are being led by Indians. There was something that happened in the late 1990s and 2000 that started all of these things, right? And because of that same vision that people like Fred Swanica, I don't know if you know him, of
Yeah.
the Africa Leadership Academy, ALA,
Yeah.
in South Africa. I think in South Africa there's a Mauritius, and I think there's Mauritius campus also, but it's majorly in South Africa. That's why I launched Africa Leadership Academy because of that same vision. Because I believe that Africa is on that same age that India was in the last 20 years. So if India was on that age 20 years ago, that 20 to 25 years ago, that they are now leading in industry, then it means that there's something happening that is going to mean that in the next 20 to 25 years, Africans are going to be heading most of these Fortune 500 companies and not just heading them for the US, but owning them also. Right? So they're really exciting things happening. And like I said, it's more prophetic than normally strategic. So, Chibukem, what do you have to say about this? I'm sure you've seen the whole Elon Musk news. So, what do you have to say? Tell us about your thoughts, what we've
Could
discussed
you
so
share
far.
the link in the comment section? The link to
All
the
right.
news.
All right, sorry.
Hey, good afternoon.
Hey, good
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 afternoon,
afternoon.
bro.
afternoon.
Sorry for coming. I'm actually about to write an exam, but I kind of escaped because I've not started. But I just saw that. I just saw the news about that just now, and I was like, damn, like, oh, Twitter, if it comes here, like, there are a lot of great minds that are going to, like, you know, attack that place. And Nigeria now, like, while upcoming, there are a lot of people that are coming up that are trying to, like, even where I am now, and, this tech rights program, I've seen a lot of people that, man, they are very hot. So if that kind of thing comes to Aba or even Abia, like, or the whole place will be like, it will
Explode.
be on fire. Yeah, it will explode. So I was amazed when I saw it. I was really amazed. Yeah.
All right. So, what are your thoughts on everything we've discussed so far in quantum and Africa and the future?
Okay, so the way I see quantum computing is like the modern Manhattan project. It's like a race for who,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
who will get it first. And Africa now are really, really behind. And that's the kind of thing that we can't afford. Sorry. No, no, no. Okay, sorry, I was a bit, but it is something that we can't afford
Sir, I can
to
hear you.
be left behind in, because can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah.
but
Yes, clearly.
Okay, I said something we can't afford behind, because this isn't just your maybe normal industrial age to computer age kind of shift. Is more, because always say that computing is godlike. That is exactly the perfect way to describe it. It's
I'm
like a
telling
kind
you.
of shift, the innovative like whole. It will literally shape the world. So if we are behind, we'll be more controlled than
You,
lead.
mm,
We won't lead anything. We'll be controlled by the people who are the forefront. So that is just my thoughts on that. It's very important that we start, getting into that technology, getting into the quantum field and AI, so that we will not be left behind.
thank you very much. That's really amazing. Like really amazing. And I think one of the things about the Abba is our Abia state is that entrepreneurship spirit that is there. Like, so he's really right. Like that entrepreneurship spirit, man. And with youth that have the energy and you give them the right, tools to be able to build, that's boundless already. So it's really amazing. I think Nigerian youth generally, once we can equip them in the right way, with the right lenses to see and the right tools to build, yeah, that's explosive. So
all
yeah,
right.
favor Alfred, I don't know if you have anything for us. You're muted if you can hear us. Or Jesu Joba, do you have anything to say?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. So I don't have this like big brain or whatever about quantum computing, but um, when I was learning about quantum computing, there was this concept that I I heard about. So just need to describe um so this is to describe quantum computing. So this is the concept. You're in a library. Normally, when you want to read a book, you have to you take a book, read it, take another book, read it, and so on and so forth. But with quantum, you can read more than one book. I think that concept is called superposition. It's not a real thing, like being able to read more than one book at a time. But I think it's amazing, and I also feel like it can open new doors when it comes to knowledge and learning. So that's what I have to say.
All right, great. Great. Thank you very much, Blessed. That was a nice illustration you gave. I think Favor also wants to say something. Favor, you can unmute your mic.
Okay, so I'm really, really sorry. I think I was called the other time, but I was not close to my system, so I couldn't reply. So, what exactly fascinates me about quantum? The fact that ever since I was young, I've always had this stuff, especially when you start to talking and they're like, okay, he's using quantum, and then there's this bit of quantum teleportation. I thought of it as superpower at first, not really understanding how it worked, but all I know was that I loved quantum. And then going forward, I think entering secondary school, I made my research about quantum, but then realized there was no way to actually go into quantum. I was like, "Ah, this thing is a lost cause. Maybe when I'm going for my master's or my PhD, I would dream about it." And then fast forward to now, I'm in Lautech studying computer engineering, and all of a sudden my prayers were answered. AQC was vetted, and then they vetted the God's Fellowship, which I joined. And then I think we were about 5 on-site fellows that they paid for, and then the rest were off-site. And it's about to end, though. My fellowship time is about to end. But during the period, the place of quantum cryptography, that in 2030, it has been predicted that every system out there that is more optimized for the PQC state, every system out there that has been encrypted with the SHA algorithm, the AES algorithm, will actually break eventually. So the fact that I have the skills that could actually save people, then I have the skills that could actually save government secrets, that could save national secrets, it's actually amazing. And I've been looking forward to, I've been making research about quantum in relation to nanotech, in relation to other parts of technology. And then I believe I'm someone that dreams far. I don't dream the normal. So please permit me to say this. But I see creating nanobots with that work with quantum that will actually be able to walk inside the cells that will, sorry, they'll be able to walk inside your bloodstream. To me, just keeping a nanobot in your hand. So whenever there is a wound or something, and Fado, I'm just thinking for now. I'm still just thinking and trying to join many things together and become the next Tony Stark.
Hey, boss, I
So,
can hear you clear.
and I really
I
love
can
it.
hear you clear. You were saying something. You were saying something about nanotechnology and quantum computing. I didn't hear that part. It was breaking. Can you rephrase again? Favor, are you there?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I
It's
audible?
breaking.
Oh, I don't
Hello?
think it's the strength. The network strength is. You can hear me now.
I can hear you. You were saying something about merging nanotechnology and quantum together.
Yeah. So I was like, imagine nanotech and quantum together. Though I'm not so, will I say, vast in knowledge of nanotech. But then I started making my research and then realized in the future we could actually have mini bots, like nano-sized bots, and then with a little bit of material science and a little bit of biology, we have them running in our bloodstreams. Not necessarily the 666, but you just have something running in your bloodstream, and then not taking over you, but at the same time, you get a blood tear and it's able to detect, okay, you have a vein just tore, and then you get the notification or something to alert you. So all those things where people say, okay, she died, and then they do an autopsy and they realize she had an internal wound or something that was not detected at first. Then we have systems that will be able to detect it and many other things. Many other things I've envisioned that I still can't explain with physics how it will happen. But we need to dream the unthinkable for the unthinkable to happen.
You sound very much like it's an exciting idea where it's too far fetched. Jesus, I live in this man house. I hear all kinds of crazy ideas. In fact, two of my brothers, their whole life is dedicated towards bringing this thing you're talking about to life. One is currently studying medicine at LASU, right? LASUCOM, right? The other just finished their mechanical engineering at one other school, right? So both of them, one is linked to nanotechnology for medicine, the other is in nanotechnology to become the future Tony Stark for other mechanical applications. So what you're talking about is not very far-fetched. In fact, we'll strike a conversation. I could link you up with them. It's something they're working on and they're very excited about it. I remember last week, the other brother that was currently doing medicine at LASUCOM was talking about how they can use nanotechnology. They're beginning to see how they can use nanotechnology for precise drug delivery. So instead of you just taking the drugs and it finds a way to deliver it, this one actually looks for where the drug is needed and delivers at that exact spot, right? And there was time in the past where I was looking at how quantum computers could literally we could create a quantum chip that could attach itself with any kind of technology and is able to boost its efficiency 1,000 times with it. So I think it deeply connects to what you're saying, and it's not very far fetched. People have started to look at it. The only problem with nanotechnology right now is that they're not able to give it as much energy as possible to be able to function, right? Um, so one of the problems for nanotechnology now is the energy. Although they're beginning to find a way to shrink it as small as possible, but with us with new advancements in material science, but over time it will get smaller and smaller, right? Until we're even able to create something that is. My brother was talking about recently, a sieve, a nano sieve, where we could literally use it to sieve water, transform totally dirty water into clean one, right? Such a way that bacteria and other things will not be able to pass through because the nanobacteria are small enough to filter that. So many other applications like that. What you're talking about is not far-fetched, right? And I have brothers who are working at this thing. So we can link you up with them if it's something you're excited about. So I mean, it's incredible what you're doing. And you say you're in which school again? Last word.
I'm at Lautech in Ogbomoso.
Ogbomosho. Lautech.
Lautech.
That's
La
Osho, right?
University of Technology. Yeah.
Oh wow, wow,
No,
wow.
Ogbomoso.
Nice, nice. Incredible. I couldn't join the AQC full boot camp thing that happened that time. But I think I joined much later. I explored quantum computing late, but it's something I think more passionate now. So it's great to have you guys on the call. I think Mr. Wetola is having network issue, but yeah, he's back. Destiny, you haven't spoken. Just Loba, you're raising your hand the other time. You wanna say something?
Yeah. When it was settling down,
I think you have to come closer to the mic. We can't hear you clearly.
I got now.
Come closer.
Can you hear me now?
No, not very good. You can try.
I got now.
You are.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So when Philo was talking, so there's this I remembered movie and no
You remember what?
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man, yes.
Yeah.
Team
There was this
technology.
place. Yes. There was this place where he entered what's the name of that? The quantum something like a quantum machine, right? And they had to like, shrink to a very, very small size and so the way it was just, like
Oh, Ant-Man
went through,
Quantumania.
yeah, like a manual. So I remember that, and I also remembered um, something I read. When people do transplants, there's this thing called rejection, where the cells in the organ that is being transplanted into the but like there's sort of incompatibility. So if we have that, like nanotechnology that can probably how do I put it? Like like survey the organ that is transplanted and try to synchronize the cell. Yes, perfect. That was just what I was thinking. I went better. Did you hear what I said?
I didn't hear a bulk of what you said. I only heard I just heard the first part where you're like they entered into the quantum realm and other things like that. That's the only thing I heard at the beginning.
let me explain. So I said that I also remember a novel I was reading where there's this lady that has X-ray vision. You can see
There has
cells.
what?
X-ray vision.
Earthquake.
X-ray.
X-ray. Okay, okay.
Yeah. You can see tiny cells in the body. And she was trying to perform an organ transplant on an uncle. And she discovered that in the organ that was to be transplanted, there was a cell that usually causes rejection. So I was saying that if we have like a kind of like nanotechnology that can remove those cells that causes rejection, or try to like synchronize the cell in the organ as the transplanted cells with what can use the organ. That's just the amazing. I really get back.
All right. I think probably network is bad on my end, and I can't hear a buckle what you said. But I really love the fact that you're drawing these insights from. I think you mentioned a novel and the Antonin Quantumania movie. Most of the insight that I draw to for what I do technically are drawn from this fictional movies. So it's a really interesting thing you're doing. Um, I think Mr. Ewitola is having a network problem, and it's just going back and forth. Oh, okay. Okay. No problem. No problem. So guys, I think I'll be leaving the call soon. So I just want to say that it's prophetic that we're all here together, and it's important that we start to drive this quantum awareness here in Nigeria. And now that I showed you should be able to spike something inside of you for you to be able to understand that it's time we start to pull our boots on the ground to do something, right? To make sure that this counts, that our generation are able to lead the future in quantum computing. So that Africa is no longer behind in any of these things anymore. It's not enough for just be consumer. We have to start to create for the world to use. So, Mr. Awatola, hand over to you. Are you there?
All right. I think it's been an amazing session today, and yeah, we've had an amazing session. So I would like to say a big thank you to everyone for joining, and watch out for the next session. Next Saturday is going to be really amazing. Like, don't miss out on next Saturday. And so yeah, we call it a close here. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. See you next Saturday. Bye.
Yeah, bye, Dave.
Bye, everyone.